Good evening, and welcome back, my dears, to Somnium. We will be finishing the Jolly Corner this evening, and hello, honey. We will be finishing the good afternoon. We will be finishing the Jolly Corner this evening, and it will probably be a short stream because there's only a couple pages left, but that's also convenient as I'm starting to feel a little bit worse, but I want us to finish the reading so when we get to tomorrow, we can enjoy our playthrough in Cabernet. So I will go through our full body scan just to help you relax a bit more into the reading. And for those who come back to listen to the VOD, so that way you can have your dose of relaxation before a little dose of horror. So I ask you to now dim your lighting wherever you will be seated or lying for this evening's broadcast. Make sure that your warm beverage is within reach. Wrap yourself in that heavy blanket to shield away the cold chill of the ending of our tale, and allow your mind to open and relax and worry of nothing else. So, as we normally begin, we'll start with a few breath cycles, and then you just need to close your eyes and follow my voice as it guides you through the body scan, and allow yourself to release any tension that you may be carrying from your day. Excuse me. And any worries that you may have. Ready? Alright, let's begin. We'll go through 3 breath cycles. Last broadcast I described going through breathing in deeply for 3 breaths. Oops. And then exhaling for 7 counts. Remember to breathe in through your nose and exhale through the mouth. First one. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2. Breathe in. 2, 3, and breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Last one. Breathe in. 2, 3, and breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good job. Now, I ask you to close your eyes and follow my voice as you begin to scan your body for any tension, starting at the top of the head. I want you to sense any tension in your head and follow that feeling down now over the forehead, down across your eyes, across your cheeks, down the bridge of your nose, your jaws, your ears, your mouth, your chin, releasing any tightness that you may have. No crinkling the nose or furrowing the brows. Just release all the tension that you may carry. Move down over the back of your head and glide gently down your neck, the front of your throat, down the curvature of the shoulders, and we'll move down the front first and then go to the back of the chest. On the front of your chest, sense if there's any tightness there. Then move down through the center of the chest, through the rib cage, as you slowly feel your heart beating and the rise and fall of your stomach. Follow the traces down over the belly and releasing any holding, any tension, any distress. Moving to the top of the neck, glide down now over the shoulder blades, down the middle of the spine, the middle of your back, and now your lower back. Release any feelings of tension or soreness from the things that you have carried today. Now, move gently back to the top of your shoulders and notice any tension that you may have in your biceps, around the top area of your arms, in the elbows, down over your forearms, your wrist, over the back of your hand, and over your palms. And follow through each of your fingers to release any tightness. Get those last few knuckle cracks out. And let everything go. There's nothing to hold on to. And all you must do is be present in this moment, in your body. All you need to do is be aware. Now, moving back to your main body, we're going to follow down over the hips, over the buttocks, across the top of the thighs, the side and the inside of your thighs, and now the back of the thighs, Any tightness, soreness, or tension easily melts away. And continue to follow the sensation of relaxation over your knees, like gentle spring waters flowing through a quiet meadow, over the shins, a nice cooling sensation to help draw the rest of the tension out of your body. The sides of your calves now, and the interior of your calves as well, and back to the medius portion of the calf. And lastly, continue to gently guide the relaxation over the tops of your feet, swirling gently around your ankles, searching for any last tension. Down around the heels of the feet, over the bottom of the feet, and to each of your individual toes. And now your entire body should be free of any tension. And your mind is open to relaxation and gentle dreams and restorative slumber. Now, on to our reading. We left off at chapter 3. What had next brought him back, clearly, though after how long, was Mrs. Molden's voice, coming to him from quite near, from so near that he seemed presently to see her as kneeling on the ground before him, while he lay looking up at her, himself not wholly on the ground, but half raised and upheld, conscious, yes, of tenderness, of support, and, more particularly, of a head pillowed in an extraordinary softness and faintly refreshing fragrance. He considered, he wondered, his wit but half at his service. Then another face intervened, bending more directly over him, and he finally knew that Alice Staverton had made her lap an ample and perfect cushion to him, and that she had to this end seated herself on the lowest degree of the staircase, the rest of his long person remaining stretched on his old black and white slabs. They were cold, these marble squares of his youth, but he somehow was not. In this rich return of consciousness, the most wonderful hour, little by little, that he had ever known, leaving him, as it did, so gratefully, so abysmally passive, and yet, as with the treasure of intelligence waiting all round him for quiet appropriation, dissolved, he might call it, in the air of the place, and producing the golden glow of a late autumn afternoon. He had come back, yes, come back from further away than any man but himself had ever traveled. But it was strange how, with this sense, what he had come back to seemed really the great thing, and as if his sorry. and as if his prestigious journey had been all for the sake of it. Slowly but surely his consciousness grew, his vision of his state thus completing itself. He had been miraculously carried back, lifted and carefully borne as from where he had been picked up, the uttermost end of an interminable gray passage. Even with this, he was suffered to rest, and what had now brought him to knowledge was the break in the long, mild motion. It had brought him to knowledge, yes. This was the beauty of his state, which came to resemble more and more that of a man who has gone to sleep on some news of a great inheritance, and then, after dreaming it away, after profaning it with matters strange to it, has waked up again to serenity of certitude, and has only to lie and watch it grow. This was the drift of his patience, that he had only to let it shine on him. He must, moreover, with intermissions, still have been lifted and borne, since why and how else should he have known himself, later on, with the afternoon glow intenser, no longer at the foot of his stairs, situated as these now seemed at the dark end of his tunnel, but on a deep window bench of his high saloon, over which had been spared, couch fashion, a mantle of soft stuff lined with gray fur that was familiar to his eyes, and that one of his hands kept fondly feeling as for its pledge of truth. Mrs. Moulton's face had gone, but the other, the second he had recognized, hung over him in a way that showed how he was still propped and pillowed. He took it all in, and the more he took in, the more it seemed to suffice. He was as much at peace as if he had had food and drink. It was the two women who had found him, and on Mrs. Moulton's having plied, at her usual hour, her latchkey, and on her having above all arrived while Mrs. Staverton still lingered near the house. She had been turning away all anxiety from worrying the vain bell handle, her calculations having been of the hour of the good woman's visit, but the latter, blessedly, had come up while she was still there, and they had entered together. He had then lain beyond the vestibule, very much as he was laying now, quite, that is, as he appeared to have fallen, but all so wondrously without bruise or gash, only in a depth of stupor. What he most took in, however, at present, with the steadier clearance, was that Alice Staverton had for a long, unspeakable moment not doubted he was dead. It must have been that I was. He made it out as she held him. Yes, I can only have died. You brought me literally to life. Only, he wondered, his eyes rising to her. only in the name of all the benedictions. How? It took her but an instant to bend her face and kiss him, and something in the manner of it, and in the way her hands clasped and locked his head while he felt the cool clarity and virtue of her lips. Something in all this beatitude somehow answered everything. "And now I keep you," she said. "Oh, keep me," he pleaded, while her face still hung over him, in response to which it dropped again and stayed close, clingingly close. It was the seal of their situation, of which he had tasted the impress for a long blissful moment in silence. But he came back. "Yet, how did you know?" "I was uneasy. You were to have come, you remember, and you had sent no word." "Yes, I remember. I was to have gone to you at 1 today." It caught on to their old life and relations, which were so near and so far. I was still out there in my strange darkness. Where was it? What was it? I must have stayed there so long. He could but wonder at the depth and the duration of his swoon. "Since last night?" she asked with a shade of fear for her possible indiscretion. "Since this morning, it must have been. The cold dim dawn of today. Where have I been?" he vaguely wailed. "Where have I been?" He felt her hold him close, and it was as if this helped him now to make in all security his mild moan. What a long, dark day. All in her tenderness, she had waited a moment. "In the cold, dim dawn," she quavered. But he had already gone on piecing together the parts of the whole prodigy. "As I didn't turn up, you came straight." She barely cast about. "I went first to your hotel, where they told me of your absence. You had dined out last night and hadn't been back since, but they appeared to know you had been at your club." "So you had the idea of this?" "Of what?" she asked in a moment. "Well, of what has happened." "I believed at last you'd have been here. I've known all along," she said, "that you've been coming." "Known it?" "Well, I've believed it. I said nothing to you after the talk we had a month ago, but I felt sure. I knew you would," she declared. "That I'd persist, you mean? That you'd see him?" But I didn't," cried Brydon, with his long wail. "There's somebody, an awful beast, whom I bought too horribly to bay, but it's not me." At this she bent over him again, and her eyes were in his eyes. "No, it's not you." And it was as if, while her face hovered, he might have made out on it, hadn't it been so near, some particular meaning blurred by a smile. "No, thank heaven," she repeated. "It's not you. Of course it wasn't to have been." "Oh, but it was," he gently insisted. and he stared before him now as if he had been staring for so many weeks. I was to have known myself. You couldn't have, she returned consolingly, and then reverting, and as if to account further for what she had herself done. But it wasn't only that you hadn't been at the home, she went on. I waited till the hour at which we had found Mrs. Molden that day on my going with you, and she arrived, as I've told you, while, failing to bring anyone to the door, I lingered in my despair on the steps. After a little, if she hadn't come, by such a mercy, I should have found means to hunt her up. But it wasn't, said Alice Staverton, as if once more with her fine intentions. It wasn't only that. His eyes, as he lay, turned back to her. What more then? She met it, the wonder she had stirred. In the cold, dim dawn, you say? Well, in the cold, dim dawn of this morning, I too saw you. Saw me? Saw him, said Alice Staverton. It must have been at the same moment. He lay an instant taking it in, as if he wished to be quite reasonable. At the same moment? Yes, in my dream again, the same one I've named to you. He came back to me, and I knew it for a sign. He had come to you. At this, Brydon raised himself. He had to see her better. She helped him when she understood his movement. Then he sat up, steadying himself beside her, there on the window bench, with his right hand grasping her left. He didn't come to me. You came to yourself, she beautifully smiled. Ah, I've come to myself now, thanks to you, dearest. This brute, with his awful face, this brute's a black stranger. He's none of me, even as I might have been, Brydon sturdily declared. But she kept the clearness that was like the breath of infallibility. Isn't the whole point that you'd have been different? He almost scowled for it. As different as that? Her look again was more beautiful to him than the things of this world. Haven't you exactly wanted to know how different? So this morning, she said, you appeared to me. Like him? A black stranger? Then how did you know it was I? Because, as I told you weeks ago, my mind, my imagination, has worked so over what you mightn't have been, to show you, you see, how I've thought of you. In the midst of that you came to me, that my wonder might be answered. So I knew, she went on, and believed that, since the question held you too so fast, as you told me that day, you too would see for yourself. And when this morning I again saw, I knew it would be because you had. And also then, from the first moment, because you somehow wanted me. He seemed to tell me of that. So why? She strangely smiled. Shouldn't I like him? It brought Spencer Brydon to his feet. You like that horror? I could have liked him. And to me, she said, he was no horror. I had accepted him. Accepted? Brydon oddly sounded. Before, for the interest of his difference, yes. And as I didn't disown him, as I knew him, which you at last confronted with him and his difference, so cruelly didn't, my dear. Well, he must have been, you see, less dreadful to me, and it may have pleased him that I pitied him. She was beside him on her feet, but still holding his hand, still with her arm supporting him. But though it all brought him thus a dim light, you pitied him, he grudgingly, resentfully asked. He has been unhappy. He has been ravaged, she said. And haven't I been unhappy? Am I not? You've only to look at me, ravaged. I don't say I like him better, she granted after a thought. But he's grim, he's worn, and things have happened to him. He doesn't make shift for sight with your charming monocle. No, it struck Brydon. I couldn't have sported mine downtown. They'd have guided me there. His great convex princeness, I saw it. I recognized this kind, is for his poor ruined sight, and his poor right hand. Ah, Brydon winced, whether for his proved identity or for his lost fingers. Then, he has $1 million a year, he lucidly added, but he hasn't you. And he isn't. No, he isn't. You, she murmured as he drew her to his breast. The end. And that is the end of our tale, The Jolly Corner, my dears. Tonight will be a short stream as I still feel a little unwell. So I wish you a very good night, oyasumi, and sweet dreams. We will see you back here tomorrow for our next playthrough of Cabernet. Good night.